Getting started preparing for your first podcast. As I indicated earlier, podcasting is more popular now than it was several years ago. If you are ready to create your first podcast, let us begin. Again, as indicated earlier, we shall look at the 4 stages of podcasting in chapter form. The first step is preparation. Preparing for your first podcasts comes even before you click on the record button on your equipment or computer. We can break preparing for your podcast. Step 1, determining the nature and subject of your podcast. As I said earlier, podcasting is not as restrictive as traditional broadcasting. However, this does not mean that it is a walk in the park either. Deciding the content of your podcast is one of the most important decisions you will make in your podcasting career, regardless of your reason for podcasting, money, or just for fun. Brainstorm some ideas of what will be the main contents of your podcasts and write the ideas down. I must point out that podcasts are more or less like episodes. One episode has to be a continuation of the last episode or building on concepts built in the last episode. Write down your ideas and create a sort of roadmap for your talking and discussion points. The list of topics you can cover is endless. For example, podcast.com, a podcast distribution, lists podcasts on the platform by category. There are many categories including news, music, health, comedy, Harry Potter book, and many more. My advice is to choose a few of the more popular podcasts and listen to them, just to get a feel of how the pros are doing it. Use this to draft up your ideas, list, and podcasting approach. If you have a target audience for your podcast, it also would not hurt to do some research into what types of topics would interest that demographic and how they would expect you to present the information you have to offer. More importantly, make sure that you write everything you intend to talk about on the podcast. This part is very important because it eliminates the awkward silences and pauses in between your podcast. Here are tips on how to choose a topic or subject for your podcast. Tips on how to choose what topic to podcast about. Tip 1. Answer the why question. Why do you want to broadcast your podcast? What do you aim to get from it? Are you doing it for fun or for some money? It is wise to ask yourself the why question in terms of the people who will subscribe to your podcast. The audience, or rather, potential audience, will also be struggling with the why question. Why should I trust you? Why should I subscribe to your podcast? When you define your why, i.e. why you are doing a podcast, it will form the backbone for your motivation and interest in your preferred subject. Further, you should note that in podcasting, the money motivation is simply inadequate. Set a SMART goal for your why. Determining your why will also play a very big role in helping you create content that answers the subscribers' why questions. Tip 2. What is entertaining and or helpful? Podcasting is a personal connection between the subscribers and the podcaster. Before someone can subscribe to your channel, he or she is looking for one of these two things: entertainment or information. Information could mean information that helps the listener take some action in a specific area of their life. For example, a podcast about how to make stock investments is helpful, so is any podcast on the many how-to subjects. On the other hand, an entertainment podcast Could be making people laugh, inspiring them, or driving their interest. 4. Example, a comic podcast, a podcast centered on jokes, may be entertaining. And so is a music podcast. When you decide which subject to pursue on your podcast, you will easily know what is entertaining or informative. Tip 3. Follow your passion. Whichever topic you zero in on, ensure that you are passionate about it. Passion is what drives you to create more podcasts even when you have 0 subscribers. Moreover, it is important to point out that in the beginning, you will have 0 subscribers. Passion for a specific subject also shines through in the way you talk about it. If you are not passionate about a subject and are doing it for the money, you can bet that this will reflect in the quality of your podcast. Not in terms of sound quality, but in terms of topic and content quality. By picking a subject of interest to you, you enthusiastically pursue the subject and communicate that enthusiasm to the subscribers. Tip 4. What is relevant to you? Why? What is relevant to your audience? What are they looking to get out of the podcast you create? What would make them happier to learn? For example, while you may decide to create a podcast about dealing with acne, it would be more relevant to create a podcast about dealing with acne the natural way. Why? Because someone suffering from acne may have tried most acne healthcare products with little or no success. Tip 5. Consider your expertise on that subject of field. In truth, podcasting is more about your courage, boldness, and audacity to broadcast than it is about your skills. However, this does not entail a pass to have lousy content on your podcast. A podcast is verbal, visual, and at times, both. While your subject and content may be great, you still need to do one more thing to make the podcast stand out among many others, i.e. present it. Not just present it, but also present it succinctly and in an understandable manner. You must have the knowledge to produce and edit the audio or video clip well, convert it into another media file if necessary, and use the internet to upload it. Fortunately, you do not have to be an expert in a specific field. If you are passionate about it, you can start now and learn along the way and share that journey with those who subscribe to your podcast.